So let's pick off where I left off from the last video. So you have all the ancient writings from the Phoenicians, the Greeks, the Romans, then you have the modern day stuff, but that's all a repeat of what was. So you have all of this stuff that goes back to the very, very beginning, all of these stories that get turned into modern day news stories. The modern day news stories, and these were based off of the celestial positionings of the planets, the stars, and the moons. Those got turned into biblical stories with some reality and some being fake, that were parables. When I say fake, I don't mean they're not true. I mean they're parables. They're stories. Those stories have now all been compiled. They've been loaded into a database. The movements of the stars and the planets that are loaded onto the computer takes all the numbers and creates the scenario that has to become breaking news, like the missing airplane, the World Trade Center. They make all of that stuff happen because they have to, because it's sacred geometry. It's the movement of the stars and the planets that create the stories. So the numbers have to stay the same. If people got to die, people got to die. Okay? So what happens is the breaking news comes out, and the people, what happens is they're either going to create a positive reaction, or they're going to create a negative reaction. Okay? That's how this works. Now, this is my theory. Because of what comes off of the people from the news stories that were created a long, long time ago, the positive or the negative, that gets funneled. That gets funneled down into the center of the planet. Into the black cube that we got, what you see in the UN prayer room. Okay? So let me just do this. Move this just a little bit up. There's two cubes. There's one on the Earth and there's one on Saturn. I think there's one on the moon too, if I remember from a 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay? So what happens is, now that the Earth is charged, right, because this goes into a bigger thing, it goes from the Earth from the Earth. Come on. Oh, I gotta get the little 4-spot thingy. There we go. So it goes from the Earth. Okay, so it goes from the center of this planet, Earth. So let me put a little cube in there. A little black cube. And then we're going to want to fill that with solid color black. Maybe it won't let me. Well, what we'll do is, this will be the color black, so I'll color that in real quick with a brush. Okay, let's get back to this. So here's the Earth. Here's the cube inside the Earth, right? And then you've got the moon, right? We're going to take the moon. He's right here. We're going to move him off over here. And then what we're going to do is going to fill that dude. Okay, there's the moon, right? We go again. There we go. Okay, so what happens is, let's run through this again real quick, because I've broken this up about 5 times. Here's all the ancient stories. They've been written down in the biblical. They go back to the Phoenician, the Sumerian, the Babylonian, Greek, Roman, all that. They're based off of the stars and the moons and the planets. Those are timed with a need for energy. Those stories are now compiled instead of word of mouth causing the problem, or the fake reality, which is the fake stories that are circulated. They go into a computer that has all this already processed and put into a format where it's going to create a story that's going to be posted out on the news as breaking news. Okay, this is based on the need for energy for this and for the energy at the center of this planet. Now, as the news is fed to the people create one of two currents. It's either going to be positive or negative. Whatever they create is funneled down into the center of this planet, and I'm sure that's what it is, the cube at the center of this planet. Okay? There's also one right here on the moon, if you watch the movie 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay? And then there's a big one up here on Saturn. And so as it goes from here, I think that the moon is neutral. So I think it's going from a positive charge, well, maybe not even a positive, from a negative charge to a positive. I don't know. I know from biology that this planet the soil is negatively charged. Okay, that would put us in a direct line with Saturn, because Saturn is number 3 and it's negative. So it goes. So the people charge this. It gets sent via the moon as a conductor, and bang, right up to Saturn. Okay. Now there's nuclear fission going on here, on a cellular. I mean, not a cellular, but on a soul level. Your soul. That's what that Nazi bell was. The soul is nuclear fission. In Kabbalah, the soul is nuclear fission. That's what's happening there. This is all about power, not governmental power. Power of keeping the system running. Battery power. When there's an economic depression, that puts a strain on people. That gets translated into something is drawing a huge current. It's drawing a lot of money. Money is currency. Okay? Time is money. It's all connected. I know that's hard to understand, but it's what it is. It's how they've taught us to perceive it. So we're charging this battery. This is demanding, for lack of a better word, a payment. It needs to be fed. It needs money. It needs currency. Okay? We are duped into feeding this or charging this battery by a very old system of stories that are pre-timed, because they're timed with this, okay, to create the storage that when this needs to pull the amperage or pull the currency out of it, it's there. So everything is timed correctly. If people stopped falling for this battery wouldn't have the reserve that it's got, and maybe this system would be broke. I don't know. Maybe it would cause the complete destruction of the earth. I'm just telling you. I can see the scam. You can see how it works. You know, and here's your serpent right here. You know, it comes through here just like this, runs just like this, goes down here like this. Then it runs over here like this. And then it runs straight up the line like that. And that's what's going on, in my opinion. That's what I believe is really going on. And they've been doing this for a long, long time. But it's not working exactly the correct way it was supposed to. And I think this is where the second sun comes in. Instead of it just all being funneled off to a negative, I think what was supposed to have happened is some of this, okay, was supposed to go right here. But it's not working that way, because this is the black sun, this is the other sun. There's something that's wrong. There's supposed to be another sun. So the one that you see in the sky is not the sun that was originally here. It would have been another sun, and it's not here. So this would have been a balanced system. Right now, it's an unbalanced system. So there's your 369. It shouldn't be that way. There should be another sun right here. If you look at the Kabbalistic tree, it would be Jupiter. So the power would be split, but that's not what's happening. So this is how this works. This is how they fool us. They scare the shit out of us, or they get us to feel sorry for things. That creates energy that gets funneled down into the center of the earth, where there's basically a battery. I don't know how to put it to you. That is timed with the seasons of this thing, Saturn, right? Because he's the god there, right? So everything works around his time scale. And when the time comes to draw currency or payment is due, okay, the reservoir is here. That's how it works. I'm sure of it.